This neckline is so high, it's so hard to put the mic on. Hey guys, so we're at it with the electric pressure cooker recipes again because winter is definitely the season of pressure cookers. Today we have 5 amazing holiday recipes, some of which you can actually cook pot in pot, so 2 things at once in the electric pressure cooker so that you don't always need to, rely on your oven or on your stove top. Now we're gonna be cooking all of these recipes again in the Vonshef electric pressure cooker, and thank you Domu so much for sponsoring this episode as well so that I can bring you all of these amazing and yummy holiday recipes. So the first recipe is going to be our main, and it is a mock stuffed turkey roll, and I'm sure that you guys have seen this at the grocery stores before, but I just find it super convenient when all of the foods that I need are stuffed up into one thing. So what you're gonna have here is essentially a turkey seitan roll that is wrapped around this filling of like cranberries and mushrooms and carrots. So it's just like uber hearty, uber savory, and everything is in one roll.
So the key to this filling is actually to cut everything into really small pieces. Because it is going to be essentially the stuffing to the turkey, you want everything to not have too big of a chunk in it. I'm starting with the vegetables that are hardest to cook first, so that's like the leeks, that's the sweet potatoes, and after a couple of minutes, after they've softened, I'm going to put everything else in, cook that for a couple of minutes, and then proceed to adding the chickpea flour, which will thicken up everything. I'm just going to cook the chickpea flour about a minute or so that it gets evenly kind of distributed before I add in about a 1/4 cup of broth, maybe a little bit more. But the key here is you want to get this filling softer and to the point where you can pack it, because that is what you need to do to get it inside the turkey roll. So this is a very basic seitan. It doesn't have a ton of ingredients, but the ingredients that you put in should be pretty good. So as usual, I want to mix all of my dry ingredients to this seitan mix first. So that's like nutritional yeast, that's garlic powder, maybe like a vegan chicken powder that you guys really like. Definitely invest in something like that if you are into seitan. So that is my dry mix, and then now I'm going to put in my wet. So as usual, Vital Wheat Gluten looks like it's not going to absorb all of that liquid, but if you continue kneading just for like 2 to 3 minutes, it completely will. And then afterwards, let this mixture rest for about 20 minutes before we roll it out. So you want to stretch it out to about 9 inches wide and maybe like 7 inches long. And the trick is to try to get it to fit in the pressure cooker, right? So that is the hardest part. And I'm going to put it on a cheesecloth because I think it'll be easier to roll it into a log shape afterwards. And then I just fill this guy and do whatever it takes to maintain that log shape. It's a little funny looking, isn't it? But it is actually super, super yummy. And take a look at that filling. It looks so gorgeous. And this could easily feed 8 people. And I pan roasted some root veggies and just put it onto a platter. And it is the most amazing centerpiece, and everything is just so delicious. Maybe pair it up with some gravy and some cranberry sauce, and you guys are really going to love it.
So my second and third recipes are going to be cooked together, so it's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to be a lot easier as well. The first of the two is actually a very simple mixed rice. I mix a couple different types of grained rices that are usually pretty hard to cook outside of an electric pressure cooker. So this is definitely going to save you a lot of time. I mix it with a little bit of mushroom broth. I put in a little bit of cranberries in there so that you get kind of like a savory and sweet and tangy combination, which I love. That is going to be paired with my third dish, which is a sausage cranberry cornbread stuffing. And I love cornbread stuffing and the texture and everything. So this is going to be done in the pot and pot. So while the rice kind of steams up from the bottom, that is going to help cook the cornbread stuffing as well. And we're going to top it off with some faux bacon as well. So it's going to be nice and crunchy up top. Inside is going to be really hearty, and you're going to get that, you know, nice cornbread stuffing as well.
So this part of the recipe is really easy. I make my own rice mix of black rice and red and brown rice, and I just stick it with some mushroom broth. It's really easy. Just put it all together and then set it aside while you make the stuffing. So this part is a little bit like the stuffing we did for the turkey. I start off by just sauteing the onions and the celery and sausage and apples just until they get a little bit softer. So a couple minutes here and there, and then I add in the herbs. And once those are done, I start preparing kind of my wet mix of what I'm going to be soaking the cornbread with. So if you guys don't know, I love substituting my egg mixture with chickpea flour. So I have some vegetable stock there, some chickpea flour, and then I add in a little bit of non-dairy milk, and that just richens up this whole stuffing. And you know, salt and pepper here and there. And even though this may seem like a lot of liquid, there is a lot of cornbread, and you don't want the cornbread to be dry because there's nothing worse than really dry stuffing. And of course, the chickpea flour will thicken up as it cooks. I would leave this mixture to set aside for about 20 minutes or so. You do want the cornbread to absorb all of that nice liquid, and try not to get it everywhere, but I'm putting it into this oven-safe container right now before putting it in with the rice and then cooking that all together.
So my fourth dish is actually a mixed mushroom pot roast, and it has like potatoes and carrots and really meaty mushrooms and also some red wine as well. So it's going to be uber hearty, it screams holiday, and everything is going to be really well flavored inside the pressure cooker.
So I'm not gonna say too much for this recipe because it's sort of like just cut everything up and throw everything in. It is that type of a one pot recipe. And of course I'm using the chickpea flour again, but a good way to avoid lumps is to just mix it with a little bit of liquid first and then putting it in with everything else to thicken it up. Oh my gosh, if you like hearty stews, this one is warming, it is comforting, there's like rice, there's pumpkin, there's everything, then you guys will really like this one.
So my fifth dish, and I am not gonna leave you guys hanging without a dessert, is going to be a holiday pecan sticky toffee pudding. I know it's uber British, but it's just so, so good. I love anything with like nuts in it that's kind of like soft and soaked in a creamy date caramel. And you guys are going to flip over this recipe.
Oh hey, I'm back. This is a vanilla bean, as I'm sure you guys all know. I thought it being the holidays, we would splurge a little bit, but definitely feel free to substitute this with about 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. So this toffee pudding is really easy. You essentially put everything into the food processor and just blend and mix the nuts in at the end. And what I find that's a little bit easier is to just blend the dates first, because those are the hardest ones to blend. And then once you get it into a nice puree, you just put in everything else. the paper is for the condensation that builds up, because you don't really want a puddle of water on top of your sticky toffee pudding. Oh gosh, this caramel sauce is crazy. I basically blended everything over a blender, and then I heated it up onto the stove. And I was saying that if this is not sweet enough for you, because sometimes people might want it in a different sweetness, there are stevia drops that you can add that have a little bit of caramel flavoring as well. And I find that that's really good if you are not looking to, raise your sugar intake too much. And oh boy, just drizzle it over this guy, add some ice cream, add some pecans on top, and I guess it's time to loosen them buttons on those jeans.
Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed these holiday recipes and that I helped you save a little bit of time so that it's not all, too hectic. I would love to hear what you guys are doing for Thanksgiving and what you're making for Christmas and just this holiday season as well. And if you have any questions, definitely put them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys all again soon, okay? All right, bye.